Yeah, these missions are quick, especially since there's two of us. This was originally going to be DLC. It wasn't going to be its own game, but it got long enough to the point they made it its own game.
So we could. Would we be able to finish it tonight? It's only like 10 missions.
I mean, I had to do it in 2 nights. I don't know, you know. Missions get longer. It's just the introduction. You know how quick the intro goes, especially because we played how many Halo now? How many Halo games?
3.
Mm-hmm. And then you get to end on Reach, you lucky duck. The precursor, the prelude to... The prequel to the whole series happens before Halo 1.
Yeah.
But you can see the influence. So like just see what happens in this game, and then you can pick up on what they learned from this game and what they implemented from this game and made it better in Halo Reach, because Halo Reach came after this in terms of the games they created. So Halo Reach, on the other hand, it picked up a lot of what they got right in this game, which is pretty nice. This is one of the most atmospheric of the Halos, though. Like, the music is just so fucking great. I think... Watch for enemies in the building. No full auto in the building! No full auto in the building! That's not full auto. This is. Okay! Grab my weapon. Damn, okay. I forgot where the other shotgun is. It's detouring us this already.
Right.
Alright, so before you go into your minimap. Oh, I don't know if they're accessible to us yet. Over time, the city opens up, and you can actually open up the weapon lockers that are around the map. It's pretty cool, but take note where we have to go. You see the direction we have to go, pal?
Yeah. Route open.
I think there's terminals we can start looking at. Past this door? Maybe the first mission had it. They're like on the phone boot, like look out for phone booths if you want to get the terminals. If not, totally fine. So in Rookie's gameplay, you can actually skip the enemies. You don't have to engage them. That's the beauty of...
Hold the creature still! Place the charge before I lose my grip!
I threw the wrong kind of fucking...
If any human gets too close.
I've used the wrong grenades. Did you kind of see what just happened, or no?
No.
They were forcing explosives on that thing against its will. It's called an engineer, is what they nickname it. The guys nickname it engineer, or the UNSC. the guys, they nickname it an engineer, and it's being held in the Covenant against its will. So they put suicide charges on it to fight.
Bruh.
Yeah, and by fight I just mean it gives its teammates overshields. It doesn't actually fight, because it has no fighting capabilities, which is why it's forced in the Covenant. So the engineer solves problems. Not practical problems. Can we open this? Please? Not yet? Not yet. This is a weapon locker. It's gonna give us either snipers or mongooses or whatever. Later. Yeah, we'll go this way, fuck it. There's gonna be an enemy up ahead, so because we have the superintendent in our visor, we can tell where the enemies are at. So we can choose to ignore them if you want. See this in front of us? Another weapon locker. So
Where?
after a couple, this thing right here with the number 8 on it, it opens, the doors open up when you come near it. That's so fucking stupid. Alright, 3 patrols ahead of us, and we just keep going in a straight line. There's a brute out to our left. Oh, it's a stealth brute. It'll go invisible. Let's see, what else is in this pavilion? Do you see anything else? I don't see anything else. If we can sneak up on that brute, then it makes our lives a lot easier. Oh fuck, wait. Ooh, you slipped. Turn around, you big dumb idiot. Oh, the jackals are behind him. Back right. If he sees us, we have to open fire.
He didn't even see us, he just shot.
He saw us. No, dude, he saw. He grabbed his weapon. He went invisible because he saw us. Come down here. Avoid all the combat.
Oh, someone's car alarm's going off.
The horde's coming. It's Left 4 Dead. Oh,
No.
hey, come over here, look. Here's your terminal.
Accurate diagnosis. Or your money back, collector. Now.
Oh,
Good job.
maybe that wasn't a terminal. I thought it was. Oh, enter. Oh, you have to start the audio train. Go into your tab. You're gonna have to start it if you want to listen to it. I've already
I'm
listened
hearing
to it.
someone talk.
Yeah. I heard it.
Mobile. I don't get close.
I only found half of them, but okay. So there's a jackal sniper on the road ahead to the right, and one on the left. There's a squad.
I think I'm listening to it right now.
You are. I hate how with the silenced shot they still detect me. Oh. Dude, he's really aggressive on me.
Found me.
Fuck. Oh my god, he's gonna kill me.
Who
That's
found her?
I found my dinner.
Fucking bitch. That dude was going crazy aggressive on me. Oh wait, he had a good weapon. Do you want my shotgun instead of 2 rifles?
Yeah. I have a rifle and a pistol actually, so,
Whatever you want to do. Hear that sax, bro? Oh my god, I love this music. There's an engineer flying up and to the right. You can actually go the campaign without killing one or shooting one, I think.
Optican, healthcare on demand.
They give support to their allies, obviously. They give them...
Collector ticket.
Fuck. Oh, the next terminal's over here.
yeah, I need health. I think when you take health, I don't get any.
What? That's not... Oh, yeah, no, it's not a shared thing. We both have our own health bars.
They never let me go up to it every time, though.
How you doing?
Good. Maybe not anymore.
Stuck in the... Got him. So now that the engineer's alone, his suicide charges are gonna detonate. Alright, so here's the next terminal right here. friendo.
Detour. Proceed with caution.
Oh, it's playing this one now.
No, I don't.
Hello, traveler. Mombasa welcomes you. Anxious? Stressed? Please remain calm. Control circuits now open. With pride.
If anyone's curious on the terminals,
Hello, traveler. The Mombasa
look it
Transit
up on
Authority welcomes
YouTube.
you to
It's a
Kiko
decent
One
story.
Station. How may I serve
One
you?
ticket to Old Mombasa, please. Here's my card. Oof, no, scrap that.
Oh, we go to the
It's
next
traceable.
one.
Damn it. Coins. Need coins.
Oh,
If you find all of them, it changes the campaign. It's an alternate ending, and also, what else happens? Oh, there's a level, one of the last levels with Rookie, something changes as well. A secret area opens up for you.
Turning all the traffic signals red. Detour. Proceed with caution.
Wait, Kate's talking back to you now? What the heck's going on?
Sir, I'm really sorry about this. I was just trying to get out of the city. Here's me. Children at play. I'm 19. And the lights. ODST is everywhere.
Got a point. A lot of soldiers are dying these days.
He's not a train. He's a city. No!
is she actually talking to the city or something?
She's communicating with. They'll explain it eventually. Here, more shotgun ammo, if you have it.
Who even is that also? Is that just like a random person?
You'll figure it out if you get all the terminals.
But we're not gonna.
You can. I won't find them all. You could look it up on YouTube.
Wow.
You want me? Okay, you want me to spoil it?
Sure.
Okay, so the girl's name is Sadie, and her dad's the one that built the superintendent for this entire city, the AI. He's like one of the lead scientists and researchers, blah blah blah, engineers, whatever. And so she's trying to find her dad. The Covenant touchdown, there's panic and all that shit. She's trying to find her dad, and he is, he's just doing his shit, whatever he's doing. I don't know if it explains it. You might say it once. Alright, you get to find the next clue. Again.
Bruh.
Wonder where it could be.
No. Turning on meat seeking vision.
Oh,
Right
you
here?
didn't have it on.
No, it's right here. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're
Okay, I
gonna
was
want that when you
confused.
find the clues. So yeah, that's a drone that monitors the city that
You have a
got
Mickey,
destroyed.
Dutch?
Negative.
We need to get above this crap. Link with the B-net. One of our drones must have seen where they hit.
So that's one of the drones. So he's looking at the drone footage to find the person you're looking for.
The person's dad or whatever.
Well, that's a side. They're just trying to find their squad. But anyways, so Sadie, before I end this episode, I guess, Sadie is trying to find her dad. She's trying to make her way over to him. The city's in a panic because the aliens are touching down and invading the city. And then what happens is she runs into the police commissioner, who offers her a ride, and it's found out that he's a pretty shady dude, and he goes to sexually assault her in his personal ride that's off the grid. And his chauffeur, his police deputy or whatever, or detective, whatever, he gets out of the car and he punches the commissioner. You know, he stops the shit from happening, and they drive away. He humiliates his commissioner. Obviously he's no longer a quote-unquote cop because the commissioner. He just did that to the commissioner, and they drive away. Sadie and him argue then. The chauffeur, his name's Mike, the guy that saved her. They argue, so what happens is they go their separate ways. She's like, put me out here. Mike's trying to leave the city, like the normal sane person. Sadie's trying to go towards the city, towards the main shit, because her dad, she's trying to be there with her dad, because all she has is her dad and the superintendent, Virgil. Virgil is a side program of the superintendent, which is the AI that runs the city, that her dad created. He created that to watch her and like raise her, so all she has is her dad in her life. So her and Mike, the guy who saved her, argue, and so they find, she's like, let me out here, and he's like, fine, and she's like, fine, and he lets her out, and she's like, great, he drives away, and she's like, great, way to say, way to thank the guy who just saved your life or whatever. So then she's making her way towards the city, and the next like 2 audio logs are about this huge like 800-pound butcher just trying to take care of people as they're trying to leave. He's telling people about meat kebabs. He's a butcher, so he makes a bunch of kebabs out of all the animals he slaughters, and he's just giving people kebabs for free and stuff like that. He's like comedic value, and also gives you a little more background about what's going on. He puts his cleaver through, or no, he doesn't put his cleaver through a car. He sits on a car, and the guy's being an asshole, so it's funny. You should look at least that part up. It's probably like 15 minutes into the audio logs. And then she promises to come back with, he's like, I'm not leaving, and she's like, come on, you have to, save yourself. And he's like, alright, fine. How about you save your dad, and then come back and get me with a forklift, because he's 800 pounds. She promises to come back with a forklift to save him. And, she never does, spoiler alert.
Why not?
So, anyways, shit goes down, bro. So anyways, she makes her way towards the city, and I forgot how the middle part goes, but the commissioner the commissioner comes back because she's playing hard to get, quote unquote, because he couldn't have her, and he always gets what he wants or whatever. So the commissioner meets back up with her and tries to like hold her hostage again, and I forgot how Mike saves her again, but Mike comes back in like the nick of time and saves her. And then the commissioner tells his police HQ, you don't find out until a little bit later, but after the second defeat by their hands, he has a submachine gun, I think, in the second encounter, and they dump garbage on him, I think. Yeah, he has a submachine gun, I think, in like a Pelican or something, and Virgil, who's a part of the superintendent, drives an elephant over a garbage truck and dumps garbage on him to smother him so he can't do anything. And then her and Mike hands over his gun to the commissioner before he gets buried in garbage, because he's got a submachine gun pointed at him. So Mike loses his gun then, and they escape in a garbage truck, and they're trying to get closer to the dad. And then there's also a salesman in the garbage truck with them, and he's like, looks like you guys had the same idea, huh? And so she gets on because the superintendent's connected everywhere and it's controlling the garbage truck for them, or Virgil, I should say, the subroutine of the superintendent, just a part of it. It patches her through to her dad so she can talk to him, and her dad tells her about the engineers and how they're being held against their will and they're friendly, and the salesman goes, they're just misunderstood. We just gotta go up to them and say we don't want to fight anymore. And so they're like, no, stay in the garbage truck. No one thinks that there are humans in it. The Covenant have been leaving the garbage trucks alone because they realized they were unmanned. There's nothing in them, so there's no point. You know, there's no one in there for them to kill. So they've been just kind of ignoring the garbage trucks, focusing on killing civilians and soldiers. And so the fucking salesman opens the hatch in front of a wraith, and he's like, hey, we're friendly. And Sadie and Mike open the back hatch out of the elephant, and they run the fuck away from there. And the wraith lights up and kills the salesman. and so then, you know, the brutes are on their trail or whatever. Oh, that's how, okay, sorry. The second time around, Mike doesn't save her in the nick of time from the commissioner. What happens is she's trying to get back into the city, and people are going crazy. So there's a there's a terminal, and she's like, oh good, I can contact my dad from it here, you know, and tell him I'm alive. This is back after she escaped the commissioner and Mike let her out of the car, and she went back towards the city after she passed the butcher. Sorry, I'm remembering it now. So she goes up to an ATM to contact her dad to see where he's at and how she can meet up with him. And her dad, so they're talking for a brief amount of time, and there's like people rioting and looting nearby because the city's under, you know, what a better time to loot the city than the fucking end of the world, right? So
I mean,
so Virgil sets off this is happening near Sadie, so Virgil sets off the police alarms, faking it like police are coming, you know, and they're like, oh, it's the cops, and they run away. But this old granny doesn't buy it, and she comes up to Sadie with the shotgun, and you hear the shotgun cock. And she's like, I'm not falling for that trick. The cops ain't coming. It's the end of the world. And she's like, out of the way. This terminal's mine. And she's like, give me my money. I've been coming to you for... Oh, I think it might have been a gambling machine. Because she's like, I've been throwing money into you for years. And I haven't, you know, I've lost so much money to you over the years. She's like, it's now my time to get it all back. And she's like, give me the money. And she starts shooting the shotgun at the thing. And she's like, Virgil, just give her the money for God's sake. And so Virgil starts printing out the money, shooting the money out for her. And Sadie is realizing a brute squad is coming by, so she runs behind a trash can. And you just hear the lady, and she's like, it's my money, none of you gonna stop me, blah blah blah. And I forgot what happens. She gets crushed, but I forgot how.
Does the machine just tip over?
Something oh, I think the brute, oh, that's what it was. The brute picked up one of the gambling machines and like threw it on her and crushed her. And so then Sadie's like, please don't notice I'm here, and they pick up her scent, and so they start coming at her, and that's when Mike totals his car by ramming into the brute squad and killing him. And then so then the commissioner comes, and he's pointing a submachine gun at him. Garbage truck comes, dumps garbage on the commissioner, he can't move. They get away in the garbage truck. The salesman listens to the conversation with their dad in the garbage truck and thinks that he can negotiate. He's like, it's all about sales. You gotta negotiate. He fucking opens the hatch in front of a wraith, tries to communicate to the wraith that they're friendly. The wraith isn't fucking buying it because it's the Covenant, and he doesn't realize it's just the engineers that are held against their will. So Sadie and Mike run away. In the meantime, after the elephant gets totaled, Virgil starts to cut off because the commissioner, being the commissioner of the police, he calls HQ and he says, I want the superintendent shut down. And they're all like, what? Why? And he's just like, that's an order, no further communication or whatever, and he cuts off because he realizes that for whatever reason, the superintendent is protecting Sadie, which is why it called the garbage truck over and dumped garbage on him. So he turns off the signal, he turns off the superintendent, and so they have to go to the police headquarters then, because Virgil cuts off from Sadie, and so they're like, what? Virgil's down? They turned off the superintendent? They were like, who'd be crazy enough to turn off the superintendent at a time like this? And they said, oh, we know someone, the commissioner. So they're like, okay, we have to go to the police HQ to turn it back on, because they have control over that, you know. So they head over to the police HQ, and there's a guy shooting up the lobby, because he got fired from the district for having anger management problems, and so he became absolutely lunatic, and he was shooting his friends. He shot Jerry or something, and right as he came down, and then the SWAT team came down and killed him, and then they got into the Mike shows him his badge. He's a cop, and they let him up, and they go up to the office in charge of putting the superintendent, you know, in charge of the superintendent being on or off, who has the switch, and they go up to, it's an office, it's a lady officer, and she's like, I don't know why the commissioner told me to turn it off, and this is just so troublesome. We need the AI to help us evacuate civilians and stuff like that. We need to monitor where the enemies are at, you know. The superintendent is nothing but help. Why did he tell us? Whatever. I have strict orders from my superior to keep it off for whatever reason. So she's listening to those orders. Sadie grabs a stapler and points it at her under her shirt to make it look like a gun, and she's like, turn the thing back on, turn the superintendent back on, and she's like, that's a stapler, and she's like, who knows, maybe it's a gun. Yeah, and last I checked, you can't be held responsible for any actions if you're held against your will with a gun. If there was a gunman and, you know, you had no choice but to turn the superintendent back on. She's like, you're right. So she turned on the superintendent back on, and what happened then? Okay, so superintendent's back on, and then she goes to find her dad, and oh, sorry, they're in the police HQ still, and there's a propaganda guy that keeps making up bullshit the entire time. So Mike's like actually annoyed that he's straight up lying about events. Like, he said the crazy gunman that killed cops in the lobby, he blamed that on Jackal snipers, and then he said, but don't worry, the resistance in the city, the resistance fighters made a flamethrower and killed the Jackal snipers with only a leaf blower and gasoline. And Mike's like, dude, that's total bullshit. It was an ex-cop that killed the cops, you know? And so they're like, what is it? The one board, the thing. The propaganda office is right next to them in the police HQ, so let's go over there and see why the fuck is he spouting pure bullshit. So they went over to the propaganda office, and, you know, the officer's like, after he gets off air, he turns off the mic, and then he's like really somber and like serious, and he's just like, I need to lie to them. He's like, these people are gonna die. I just have to comfort them in the moments up to their death. So I'm painting it like we're holding out a good resistance when we're really not. So then he puts them on air. Mike's like, how could you lie about this, blah blah blah, you're just spouting them bullshit. And he's like, alright, fine, you tell everybody how hopeless it is. And he turns on the mic on air and hands it to Mike, and so Mike gets on there. Mike's forced on the air for everyone to hear on public radio, and Mike says, yeah, it's the leader of the resistance, because that's what the guy set him up for. He's like, I've got the leader of the resistance right here. What's your name? You know, how's it going, Tom? Blah, blah, blah. And Mike, being Tom or whatever name he used, he's like, we're doing good. You just gotta, you gotta keep fighting, keep hanging in there, just never give up, run to safety, seek shelter, blah, blah. And then they get off air, and the propaganda guy goes, now you're a hero. And then they get a call from the commissioner because he heard Mike on public radio, and he's like, that was a good impression on the radio, Mike, as the resistance leader. And he's like, anyways, Sadie, I need you to come alone. I've got your dad held hostage. My men have control of the fire alarm system in his building he's in right now, in his room, and if you don't come alone to my train right now, we're gonna trip the alarm, and it's gonna flood argon into the room, which freezes things, and it's poisonous, you know, it'll kill us if we breathe it in and stuff like that. So that's their fire system. They use argon to stop fires, and that would kill the people inside, which would be your dad. So her and Mike talk a little bit, like, you can't do this, blah blah blah. She's like, no, I need to. Alright, goodbye. So she goes, they're on a train. She approaches his train, and he's got men with machine guns aimed at a crowd, you know, so no one tries to get on. But Sadie gets on, and then Mike rallies the people. Oh, sorry. Sadie gets on, the people freak out. They're like, we need to get on, we need to get out of here. The aliens are touching down in the city. We need to escape. The police commissioner gives the order to open fire on the crowd because they're starting to press down on the train, you know. And so the police officers with machine guns open fire. He's got a corrupt group of police officers under him. Not all are, but he's got some, you know, he's got a belt of corrupted ones, and those are the ones with the machine guns killing innocent civilians at this time. So he is killing a bunch of innocent civilians. He's in a car safe with her, and since they turned Virgil back, no, what happened? Oh, Virgil killed the engines to the train so they couldn't move, and then Mike rallied the people outside into a rebellion, into a unified force, and they stormed the train. And then Virgil opened the train up, and the people ripped the commissioner apart for killing them, you know, for being a police commissioner and actively killing the civilians, unarmed civilians, and not allowing them escape and safe passage and stuff, and being selfish. So they literally ripped him to pieces. A mob did. And then before that, though, as soon as the doors close and he lets Sadie on, he tells her that he already killed her dad an hour prior, whether she was coming or not. The second he hung up the phone, he gave the kill order to his men to kill her dad. And so, you know, then the people outside the train revolted. Virgil killed the engines to the train, and then they opened the train up so the people could storm onto the train, and they ripped the commissioner apart. And then Sadie's crying because she lost her dad, the only one she had. So then Mike like, come on, let's start a new life elsewhere or whatever. You know, we gotta keep surviving, blah blah blah. We gotta keep going. So she's like, alright, fine. And then they take the train out of the city, and that's the last terminal, is them. She's agreeing to go on the train as Virgil gets the trains up and running again and takes him out of the city to escape. That was the last terminal, and what that changes is the last cutscene, or not the last cutscene. One of the cutscenes, it's Rookie and another squad mate, and they, I won't say who, and the squad mate has all the information on what's going on, and they tell the Rookie what's going on. And then if you get all the terminals done, though, you realize that the engineers are friendly, not foes. So there's a tidbit and whatever else. And so the Rookie tells the squad mate what's going on, and not to, you know, like, listen to him. Then what it changes in game is the room her dad dies in actually opens up, and you run into a corrupt police officer that went in there to make sure that he was dead. They tripped the system to kill him, you know, by orders of the commissioner. But you don't get to you get to see the outside of the room. It's all frozen over. It's really cool. But you can only go in the room and find the corrupt cop, and you actually fight the corrupt cop. If you get all the terminals. So
The corrupt cop who killed the dad?
no, they tripped. I mean, he might have been the guy. He tripped the system. One of them in the squad tripped the system to spit out argon to put out a fake fire that wasn't actually there, and it killed the dad. He went in there afterwards to make sure that he was dead. His final order, you know, make sure the professor is dead. And so if you find all the terminals, you get to fight the corrupt cop, and you get to see the room her dad died in. It opens up. It's pretty cool. It's a really nice touch to the game for, you know, like, I'd say that's a really nice touch. You do all the side quests and you get more out of it, just like they have in modern open world games now. But this was back in like '09 or something. You know, this is years ahead of time, years ahead of the curve. Bungie took a risk making this game, and I think it paid off immensely. Alright, sorry.
I thought people didn't like this game.
People didn't like it initially because, and not everyone, but there were people that didn't like this game because you're not Master Chief. You're not a Spartan. It's different. You know, you have to do detective work at night, and then you do, action pack during the day, but you're not a super soldier, so you're nerfed, you know, and your weapons are slightly different, some of them. So people didn't like this, and there wasn't a straight up multiplayer. Like, there was firefight in this game, but it wasn't fighting against each other like normal Halo multiplayer. So you were nerfed Master Chief without the classic multiplayer. Instead, you were given firefights. So people didn't like it because they didn't, in my opinion, they didn't understand it. They wanted action-packed, all that stuff. Halo 3 was an awesome trilogy it ended on, and then they get the ODST, and it's a jazz-filled, slow, you know, nighttime detective work, daytime, you know, kill it, whatever, you know, extraction, blah blah blah. So people just didn't, they weren't ready for that change, I think, in my opinion. But I didn't beat it when I was a kid. I couldn't figure out where to go. One of the pieces I needed I couldn't find in the nighttime as a rookie, and I couldn't progress further. I think I got to where did I get? I got up to the part of New Mombasa Police Department HQ. I never got to play that mission because I couldn't find Romeo's sniper. That was the piece I needed to find, and I couldn't find it. That's as far as I got. And then I think I kept replaying the campaign from the first mission every time I played it, which did not help at all. So, I don't know. You just have to get used to it. You know, it's different in its own way, ODST, and I like it for that.